Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone, I welcome you again to the course Nursing Research and Statistics. Today we will be discussing Hello everyone, I welcome you again to the course Nursing Research and Statistics. The topic for today's lecture is Inferential Statistics using SPSS. I am Dr. Harmeet Kaur Kang from Chitkara University, Punjab, and for today's lecture, presenter will be Dr. Tejinder Pal Singh, University Business School, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Now let us see the learning outcomes for today's lecture. At the end of the lecture, students will be able to analyze the data using inferential statistics with the help of SPSS software. When we were talking about the statistics which we use while analyzing the data, we talked about different tests under inferential statistics. So in today's lecture, you will be able to analyze the data using SPSS. So under this, you will be able to test the hypothesis using chi-square test. So chi-square test, particularly where I talked to you that when we are having the data in the categorical variables, then we will also be analyzing uh, the independent t-test using SPSS software, then testing the hypothesis using paired t-test. I hope you remember independent t-test and paired t-test, and then testing the hypothesis using one-way ANOVA. So now this presentation will be done by Dr. Tejinder Pal Singh. He is the Associate Professor at University Business School, Punjab University, Chandigarh. So he will be talking about the inferential statistics using the SPSS software.
So, hi everyone. As Dr. Hermeet already told you, that I'm going to talk about inferential statistics, and we will discuss that how to apply the inferential statistics with the help of SPSS. Now, before we start it on SPSS, it is very important to understand the meaning of inferential statistics. I know you have already covered this topic in one of the sessions, but let me briefly explain it with the help of an example that what inferential statistics exactly means. Now see, in most of our primary studies, we work on the sample. We have our population and we take the small sample from the population. And what is the ultimate aim of the researcher? The ultimate aim of the researcher is always that whatever you found or whatever you find on the basis of sample, are you able to generalize all these findings to the population at the larger scale? Because that is the ultimate goal that every researcher wants to achieve. No, but the question is here that whatever I find on the basis of sample, how it can be generalized to the population. For example, if I found on the basis of my result that mean age of my, let us say in university, the mean age of student is 22 based on the sample. But can I generalize it to the larger population that in the population as well, the mean age is either equal to or nearer to the 22 years. Now, in this process, whenever we want to generalize any finding to the larger population, in this case, we have to take the help of the hypothesis. Hypothesis will tell us whatever we have found in sample, whether the same thing is happening in the population or not. Now question comes, how do I test the hypothesis? So there are different types of hypothesis and there can be different types of variables in a given hypothesis. It can be a categorical variable, it can be a scale variable, and accordingly on the basis of the type of the variables, we apply the various statistical tools to test the hypothesis to ultimately reach to the generalization. Now, whatever tool from the statistics I will use to test the hypothesis, that tool will be called as a part of inferential statistics. I hope you might have heard about the name like chi-square test is there, t-test is there, pair t-test is there, and sometimes we use the ANOVA test is there. So all these tests are part of the inferential statistics, and purpose of these statistics is to use or to test the hypothesis ultimately so that we can generalize our result to the population. So having said all these things, so let us now move that what type of inferential tools or statistical tools are available with us. So I am going to begin with the chi-square test. So the very first and very commonly used tool for testing of the hypothesis is chi-square. You might have noticed that when I was talking about that we have to use the different types of statistical tools depending upon the nature of the variables or the type of the variables. Now, here it is very important that where I will apply my chi-square test. So in this case, first of all, you have to very carefully see that what is the type of your variable. For example, in this case of chi-square, when both of your variables are non-metric, or you can say both of the variables are either nominal or the ordinal. I'm trying to explain it with the help of example, then it will be more clear that where to apply the chi-square test. Now see here, for example, I have one variable that is called as social media usage. Let us say from any of the university, I measured this social media usage on a categorical or a multiple type question by indicating whether it is low, moderate, and high. And you can clearly see that this variable is a non-metric variable. And similarly, I have the second variable called gender. And again, it is a non-metric variable or it is a categorical variable. Now you can see, I want to find that is there any association between social media uses and the gender. Whether I want to see that whether male use low, moderate, high, any sort of association is there or not, that I wanted to measure or and that I wanted to generalize to my larger population if I'm working on a sample here. So now see here in this case, both the variables are non-metric and it is having both the variables having the categories. So whenever we have to test the hypothesis, so we have to first of all frame the hypothesis. Now see here in this case, what will be my hypothesis? So let us say this is my hypothesis, that null hypothesis, that there is no association between social media uses and the gender. And you can clearly see that I have two variables here. One is social media and another is gender. And I have already explained that both of the variables are categorical in the nature. And similarly, it can be converted to the alternative hypothesis, that is, there is association between social media uses and gender. Now I want to test these hypotheses by using the SPSS. Now I will take you directly to the SPSS data, and there we will see how to perform the chi-square test and how to accept or not to accept our alternative or the null hypothesis there. Okay, so let us now move to our SPSS sheet. Now see here, I have the data on different variables in this file. Now you can see in my variable view that we have two variables here. One is on gender, another is on social media uses. Then forget about rest of the variables. We will use these variables in the rest of the test. Just focus on these first two variables. So you can clearly see that in my data input, these two variables are categorical variable. It is gender, male and female, and similarly I have classified social media uses to in three categories called low, moderate, and high. Now my ultimate purpose is to test this hypothesis that we frame, that is there any association between social media uses and the gender. So just to apply, I want to apply now, I want to test the hypothesis on these two variables. So what is the process? So for this purpose, simply go to analyze and then go to descriptive, and under descriptive you will see the cross tab. Now this is another interesting thing, that if in your data set you are able to design or able to, you can say, form a cross tab of two variables having different categories, then yes, you can apply the chi-square there as well. So now we are, first of all, we will now convert this to the cross tab, and then we will apply the chi-square here. That on this, click on this cross tab, and yes, obviously we know that in cross tab we have rows and columns. So my first is gender variable, and second is my social media uses. So we have inserted these two variables to rows and column. It doesn't matter which variable you will insert in the row and which variable you insert in the column. Now we have to now make here few settings here, or we have to select few options to apply the chi-square test. So just go to the statistics here, and under statistics you will see the very first option in the chi-square. We have to just check this option and nothing else. As of now, nothing else is there needed to be checked here. Click on continue, and under the cells it is optional if you want within the table, that because we already have the observed values, do you want to calculate the expected values? Yes, if you want that it should show in the table expected values as well, then click on this expected values. And similarly you can have more information like percentage, row wise percentage, column wise percentage, and a total percentage that will also appear. But it is optional. It will give you, even if you will not check it, it will give you the, you can say, result of your hypothesis. So let us continue this one, and the rest everything is okay. We have to press now OK button. Now see here, let us understand, and now because our ultimate aim is to, we have to either reject our null hypothesis, or we have to fail to reject the hypothesis. We have to take the decision on this very hypothesis which we have just framed in this case. Right? Okay, so let us now understand this one. Okay, the very first table is the case processing summary. It gives you general data, that how many cases were there, how many missing values were there. It talk about that only. Now second is the cross tab. Now you can see here under, it has beautifully categorized that in our data set we have male 10 are having a low uses, 30 having moderate uses, and 0 have high uses in this case. And similarly for the female, we have the 0, 10, and 50 here. So, but my ultimate aim is that whether male and female anyway are associated with this uses level. Now for this purpose, now remember one thing, whenever we have to take the decision with respect to a hypothesis, we should always look for the p-value. Now in this case, in our SPSS, it is always called the significant value here. You can see here significant value, and we should not talk about this first value. First value is about our Pearson chi-square value. Now this is your test value, this is your degree of freedom, and this is the p-value. Now it is now in this case the things are very simple. You need not to calculate the test value and compare it with the table value. It's not required. It is only what is required, only the p-value, and on the basis of p-value you will take the decision. Now again you have to first of all verify, or you have to think about, or you have to fix that what is your significance level. For example, if it is you're working on 95% confidence level or 5% significance level, then accordingly you have to compare this value with the benchmark. When I'm saying benchmark, what does it mean? So I have to compare it with, if I'm working on a 95% confidence level, then my benchmark will be 0.05. If I'm working on 99% confidence level, then my benchmark will be 0.01. And similarly, if I'm working on 90%, my, you can say, my benchmark in that case will be 0.10. So, but in most of the cases we are talking, or we are working on 95% confidence level. So our benchmark value of P is 0.05. Now, to take the decision to reject or not to reject our null hypothesis, we have to compare it with the benchmark. Now, what there is a one golden rule for this one. There is one golden rule, that how do I decide that whether my hypothesis will be accepted, not accepted, rejected, not rejected. Now look at, they always think from the null hypothesis point of view. You can give in your research either alternative hypothesis or a research hypothesis, but we have to take the decision on the basis of p-value with respect to the null hypothesis. Now I'm going to tell you one golden rule which you will never forget, that how to accept or how to reject the null hypothesis here. And this golden rule is, if p-value is low, the null will go. When I'm saying p-value is low, it means you are comparing it with your benchmark. And in our case, our benchmark is 0.05. Yes, if it is less than 0.05, our null will go. Means we will reject our null hypothesis in this case, and alternatively we will accept our alternative one. And similarly, if p-value is high, our null will apply. It means if p-value is high, that means it is more than 0.05, then our null will apply. In that case, we will fail to reject the null hypothesis in this case. Now let us go back to our, you can say, output. In this case, now you can see here, what is our p-value here? It is 0.005. Actually, it is not 0.00500. It is very small value. There can be something after, let us say, 10 zeros or 15 zeros. There will be something there, but obviously it is less than our benchmark. Our benchmark is 0.05. If it is less than 0.05, then what will be our decision? Then our decision will be this one. Our decision will be that our null p-value is low and null will go. That simply means that we will reject our null hypothesis and we will accept our alternative hypothesis. So we can conclude here that based on our p-value, there is a significant association between the gender and the social media usage. So this way we have calculated, we saw that how to apply the chi-square test when we have the two categorical variables are there. And you can see something here. Was the assumption of our chi-square test that the expected count should not be less than, you can say, 5. You can see here these are our expected count, so in any case it should not be less than 5. But yes, few you can say, you can say relax these assumptions as well. If it's only say that okay, there is one cell where our expected value is less than 5, or expected count is less than 5, and if this value is less than 20%, then there is no issue. You can easily go with, or you can easily apply your chi-square test there. So this was a simple explanation to the chi-square test. Okay, so okay, now let us move to our second tool that we can use to test the hypothesis. Now, here the tool that I'm going to discuss with you is independent t-test. Now, I think you know about that, where to apply the independent t-test and how to use it for hypothesis testing. But let me briefly explain that where to apply the independent t-test. So you can apply the independent t-test when your dependent variable is metric. Now see, it is different from chi-square. There we always talk about non-metric variables. But in case of t-test, where our dependent variable is a metric, metric means either it is on interval scale or it is on ratio scale. And our independent variable is a non-metric variable. That means we have only two categories of that non-metric variable. And remember one thing here, that it is applicable when our independent variable is non-metric and it is having only two categories. If it is having more than two categories, then we have different tool for this purpose. Now look at the scenario where I can apply the t-test there. Now look at this example. Now in my research, I collected the data on one variable, that was the computer proficiency, and second variable was my gender and male and female. Now what is my objective in this case? I want to see whether the computer proficiency, it differ across gender, means it is different in males and different level prevails in female, or it is same. So obviously for this purpose we have to frame the hypothesis and we will generalize it to the larger population. But you notice here, sometimes this dependent variable is measured on a single question only. It can be measured on a single question, but in this case, we have used the three different statements to measure the computer proficiency. So let us say my respondent is marking on strongly agree, strongly disagree, or somewhere else. And what we will do, ultimately, we have to make this variable as one. So how will we make it? Very simple. We will take the average of all the responses, and then it will be converted to the one variable. Right? If it is by originally it is one variable, you need not to do all these things. But anyhow, if you are measuring this variable with the help of statements, then we have to take the average of all that I will show you in SPSS, and then we have to just convert it to a single variable. So now, very first thing which I want here, I want to test or I want to frame the hypothesis in this case. Now, what will be the hypothesis? My hypothesis, null hypothesis, I can frame like this one, that there is no difference in level of computer proficiency between male and female. And how this computer proficiency will be measured? It will be measured by taking the average of all these three statements. And of course, we have the independent variable, it is categorical variable, and that we have already measured here. So ultimately, or in simple terms, you are going to compare the group mean of males as well as female, whether it statistically differ from each other or not. So that is the ultimate objective in this case. So now I will take you and we will apply the same rule here, golden rule, that if p-value is low, the null will go, and p-value is high, the null will apply. So we will take the decision in the SPSS. So let us now go to SPSS. Now see here. Now focus on these two variables. One is my gender, which I already discussed in the example, and second is my three. You can see are my three statements here, and I am going to work on these statements. Okay, now question comes here, because one is gender. Now I have to take the average of all these three variables so that I can have a new variable here, which will be the level of computer proficiency. So this way you will learn one more function of SPSS, that how to compute the variables, how to compute the average, or you want to multiply plus here, that you will learn in this process as well, simultaneously, along with that, you can say, simultaneously testing the hypothesis. So firstly, we will take the average of this three statements, and then we will apply the t-test here. So what is the process for taking the average? So just go to transform and click on this compute variable. This is the compute variable. So what will be my new variable? We have to name it. Let us say it is level of computer proficiency is my new variable. Now we have to give the numeric expression here. So we have to calculate the mean. So that process is very simple. You can just search from the function group here, statistical, and under statistical you can search for mean. Select this mean, double click on this one, and you will see under numeric expression we have this mean. Now we have to just insert these statements here one by one, and make sure that each statement is separated by the comma, separated by comma, and there is no comma at end or sign of interrogation. So this is the function we have created. Now what will happen here? So we will now have a new variable that will be called as level of computer proficiency in a data set. So let us press OK and see whether this variable appeared or not. Yes. Yes, now we have this variable level of computer proficiency. Now what we have to do? Now we have to test the hypothesis using this gender and the level of computer proficiency. So what is the process for this one? Click on this analyze, and under you can say compare mean. Compare means here, yes, under compare mean we have independent sample t-test here. So select this button, independent sample t-test, and now we have to first is the test variable. So what is the test variable here? Test variable is your dependent variable. So in my case, this is my dependent variable. Take to this side. And what is the grouping variable? Grouping variable is my gender. Take to this one gender. But we have to just perform, we have to define the groups as well. That what was my group 1 and 2. So we will say that 1 was for group 1, 2 code was given to group 2. In a way, it is 1 stands for male and 2 stands for female here, and press on continue. Let us see, is there anything under the option? No. So we are ready to now apply the t-test, or we are ready to test our hypothesis that is there any difference in the level of computer proficiency as far as our gender is concerned. So when everything is in order, just press the OK. So okay, now we have this output for our t-test. So first it's the general descriptive one. Now you can see here group test, we have 40 males and 60 females are there. Now look at this, the mean value. Mean, if I will calculate separately for male, it is 3.4, and if it is for female, it is 3.11. Now see here, on the face of it, it seems that okay, males having high proficiency in as far as our in a comparison to the female. But because these are the results of our sample only. What I want to see that whether the same thing is happening in our population or not. So that is why we are testing the hypothesis here. So for this purpose, already framed the hypothesis, and we have the results of hypothesis here. Now, but you can see here we have a little bit complicated table here, but try to understand it will not be that difficult here. Now you can see it has two rows. So always for each variable, it will give you the two rows, and ultimately we have to test this p-value. We have to test here this significant value here. You can say this significant value we have to test here. But we can notice here that we have two significant values. One is here and another is in the second row. Now, which should I test? Which should I use to test my hypothesis? So it will be decided by this Levene's test here. It will be decided by Levene's test, because this is the one of the assumption of our independent t-test, that my variances are equal. And who will test that whether the variances are equal or not? It will be tested by Levene's test. So you have to remember one thing here. Don't go into that detail. Just remember only one thing. Under the Levene test, you can see here equal variances are assumed and equal variances are not assumed. Now I'm in a confusion that should I follow this row or should I follow this row? So always look at this p-value. This p-value, just look at this p-value. If this p-value is less than 0.05, if this p-value is less than 0.05, then you will use this second row. You will use this second row for testing of, mean you will use this p-value. If this p-value is greater than 0.05, this p-value greater than 0.05, then you will use this p-value. Okay, I'm just repeating here that how to take the decision. Just look at under the Levene's test, look at this significant value. If it is greater than 0.05, then follow this line and select this p-value to test the hypothesis. If it is less than 0.05, then come down and use this row, and then use this p-value. Although these two p-values are seems to be same, but you will see in not all the cases these values are same. So now I think now you can easily tell me that which row should I follow to take the p-value. So in this case, under Levene test, this is our p-value. It is less than 0.05. So now we will follow this assumption. Our variances are not equally. It is proved here with the help of this test, and we will follow this row and we will take this p-value. And what is this p-value? P-value is 0.001, and it is less than our benchmark, and our benchmark is 0.05. So it means our p-value is low. Now I will take you to our hypothesis, which I was just talking about. Our hypothesis, this is null hypothesis, and now my p-value is low. That means null will go. It means we will reject our null hypothesis and we will accept our alternative hypothesis. And we can say here with 95% confidence, that there is a difference in the computer proficiency as far as gender is concerned. So this way you can take few more examples of t-test and just try to work in our SPSS. So this was our second inferential statistical tool that we can apply for, you can say, for the calculation of, or for the testing of the hypothesis, I will say. Okay, now let us move to the third inferential tool or inferential statistical tool that we can apply, and this tool is the pair t-test. Now, where to use the pair t-test? It is simple. I think you already know about this one. I need not to explain it, but again, just for repetition purpose. So, pair test is used when you want to compare the changes in the dependent variable after a treatment or after manipulating the independent variable. So it has very, you can say, great significance when we are conducting the experimental research there. Now look at this example. For example, I wanted to conduct one experiment and I want to see whether exercise it leads to the weight loss or not. Now see here, in this case, our dependent variable will be a weight and our independent variable is an exercise. And what is more important in the pair t-test, that you are measuring one variable at two different time intervals. Or see here, in this case, first before start of the experiment, we measure the weight of our respondents called weight 0. Then they were put to a exercise, let us say for 1 week or 1 month, they put to the exercise, and after that we again measured the weight of that very group. So it means now we are measuring the same variable at two different time intervals, at the beginning of our experiment and after conducting the experiment, or you can say after this treatment or manipulation of our independent variable. Now what this pair test t-test will tell you, it will simply tell you, because what is our interest, we want to see whether exercise, because of exercise, weight has significantly reduced or not. We will see whether from 0 level to weight 1, whether it is reduced significantly or not. So that will be tested statistically with the help of pair t-test. So for this example, let us say our null hypothesis is here, that there is no effect of exercise on weight loss. This is null, and alternatively we can say that there is effect of exercise on weight loss. Right, so now I will take you to the SPSS sheet here, and we will see that how to test the hypothesis there, and how our data should be there, you can say, present in the SPSS sheet. Okay, so now this is my data that I have entered in our SPSS. So this was the weight 0, that means before the beginning of exercise or beginning of our experiment. And then we have this weight 1, that is the data, it was recorded after 1 month. And all these respondents, they were put to, or subjects, they were put to the experiment there. Now, what is our purpose here? Our purpose is to see whether because of exercise, this weight or the mean of all these respondents, or mean of this weight of all the respondents, whether it has significantly reduced or not. If it is significantly reduced, then we can say that yes, exercise has an effect on weight loss. If not, then we will reject it, that exercise has no effect on our weight loss. Now, what is the process, how to do it? And remember one thing, we have to always put the data in this format only. In one, it's a pre-test or the beginning of the experiment. In the second column, we have to put after the experiment or a post-experiment data, we can say. So what is the process? Go to analyze, again go to compare means, and then click on paired sample t-test. Let us click on this one, paired sample t-test here. And here you can see we have two variables, and this is our pair 1 and variable 1 and variable 2. We have to simply just select, or you can say just drag and drop the variable here. This is our variable 1 and this is our variable 2. That's all. Right, so we have to just perform the simple steps here, and nothing, we need not to change anything here. So that's all. We have to simply press OK button here, and it will give me the results. Now you can see here, let us look at first descriptive statistics. What is there? You can see before the start of exercise it was 70 kg, for example, and after the exercise, after 1 month, it is there 66 kg. Now, on the face of it, see that yes, it has reduced. Weight has significantly reduced, but we can't conclude we can't generalize it to the population or to the larger population from where we have taken the sample. So what we have to do for this purpose, we have to test the hypothesis that whatever you can say this decrease is there in the weight loss, it is significant. So that will be tested with the help of our hypothesis, or with the help of p-value. And you can see here are the values for paired sample test. So we have this variable, we have the mean, standard deviation. What do we have to check? We have to check this p-value. We have to check this p-value, and we have to compare it with our benchmark. What is our benchmark? That is 0.05. And whether it is less, if the p-value is low, yes, it is less, it is low, then our null will go. So we will reject our null hypothesis that we previously framed in our example here. It is null is there is no effect. So we will accept it. We will accept it that yes, there is an effect of exercise on the weight loss on the basis of this p-value that we have just computed here. So this is very simple, you can say, way to test the hypothesis. And now, what is the general understanding on this one? We can generalize. When I'm using this word again and again, generalization. So what generalization here means? That from there is one population from where we have taken this sample, and now with 95% confidence, I can say that this result is also applicable or generalizable to that population as well. Right? So this was about our, you can say, t-test. Now what is the next? The next we have one ANOVA. Let me just talk about one-way ANOVA. Now you can understand one-way ANOVA test in terms of the independent t-test. It is almost same, but there is one difference in ANOVA and independent t-test. You can see we have the same condition as we discuss in t-test. Dependent variable should be metric. That means it should be measured on interval scale, on the ratio scale. And what about independent variable? It is a non-metric variable, but it is having two or more than two categories. Then we can apply the one-way ANOVA test here. For example, look at the same example which we, you can say, discuss in the case of independent t-test. So dependent variable is computer proficiency, and independent variable is a no income categories. And now we have three income categories. It means it is more than two. Then we can apply the one-way ANOVA. And what are we going to test here? We are going to test our hypothesis. Our first hypothesis, or null hypothesis, we have there is no difference in level of computer proficiency across income categories. And alternatively, we have alternative hypothesis that there is difference in the computer proficiency across various income categories. Now let us see how to perform it in SPSS. Let us go to the SPSS. Let me just close it down, and let me open the file in which we were previously working. Okay. In this file, you can see here we already have computed this level of computer proficiency. We already computed, and now we have this income as well in our data set. And how many categories are there for income? We have three categories here. If there are two categories, we would have applied the t-test only, but now there are three categories. It means now we have to apply the ANOVA test here. Let us see what is the process. From data view, from analyze, go to compare mean. Same from compare means, go to one-way ANOVA. Let us select this one-way ANOVA. And dependent list, dependent variable, yes, we know that it is the level of computer proficiency. And what are the factors? So factor here means in ANOVA it will always talk about the factors. The factor here is the income category. Your categorical group will fall under the factors. So do we need to test anything else here? Let me just, yes, you can select the descriptor, and the rest of the things are there which you will learn at the higher level. Let us continue here and press OK, and it will give me the output. Let us see what is there in the output. This is the output of one-way ANOVA test. First we have the descriptive. Descriptive is that it will tell you that each category wise what is the level of computer proficiency. Let's say if the income is less than 20,000, they have 2.8, and accordingly it is there. I will again say that on the face of it, it seems that there is difference. But whether this difference is significant that we can generalize it to the larger population, that will be explained by the ANOVA. So now let us move to a testing of the hypothesis. So now we will compare it with the p-value. So in this case, our p-value is less than 0.05. That is our benchmark. That it means 95% confidence level here. So it means if it is less than 0.05, we will fail to reject our null hypothesis and we will accept our alternative hypothesis. And our alternative hypothesis is that there is significant difference in the computer proficiency as far as income categories are concerned. So this was all about inferential statistics. So we simply discussed four types of different tools that we can apply to test the hypothesis. That includes your chi-square test, t-test, pair t-test, and the ANOVA test is there. Okay, now before I conclude it inferential statistics, I would like to explain few more features of you can call it SPSS, which may be useful for further analysis. Okay, the first function that I will talk about is about the select cases. Now, where it is useful, the select cases where you can use it. Now, see, sometimes when we are performing the analysis in SPSS, we need to perform the analysis on specific respondents having specific features. Now see here in this example, suppose I want to perform an analysis only on males, not on females. Now see here, what is happening here? Yeah, and in this case, whatever analysis I will perform here, that will be performed on entire data set. But my problem is different. I want to perform the analysis because of any reason, let us say only on males or only on females. So how to do it? So in this case, our select cases that will be very useful. So how to select a specific case or cases in the SPSS? So for this purpose, let us go to the data. Let us go to the data and you will see here we have this option select cases. Click on this one, select cases, and here we have to define the condition. For example, our problem is here or our objective here is I want to perform the analysis on males only. So we can just define this condition that if my gender is equal to what? 1. 1 is our male. Then select these cases and exclude rest of the cases from the data set. So press continue and press OK. Now let us see what has happened in our data set. Now you see it has crossed all the female respondents here. You can see wherever the 2 is there, that means it is a female. So it has put the cross. Now whatever analysis I will perform, that will be performed only on the gender. Only on the gender. For example, I want to see that what is the average age here of males, right? Male. So simply, yes, I can calculate the descriptives here and I can just put the gender here, press the OK, and now you can see it is giving me the results of only the 40 respondents in our data case. That is very useful. It may be useful at certain cases when we have to select the particular set of cases here. Now how to restore it, how to again go back to the original data, that process is again simple. We have to just reverse the process, go to select cases and now select all cases here. Now press OK and you will see now all the cases are available for data analysis purpose. Okay, done. Now there is another one function that is called as a split file. Split file means sometimes there is a requirement that I want to perform the analysis separately or I want to perform the analysis group wise. Now see here, for example, I want that give me the output related to my analysis. Let us say based on the income groups. Give me a separate output category 1, give me a separate output for category 2 and so on. Now, in this case, what will happen? So, first of all, you have to split this file, split on the basis of categorical variables. So, process is simple. Go to data, and now we have this split file. Split file. See here. First of all, what we have to do, we have to just compare the group or organize the output by groups, and which variable, let us say income is there, you take. Now, what will happen here in our output sheet? Whatever results are there, they will be presented first for the first category, then for the second category, and then for the third category, and press OK. Let us see, how do I know? You will see that okay, nothing will happen in your data set, but you will see at my right hand corner, you will see this file is now split by income, meaning a file is already now grouped and you can perform the analysis category wise. So file is my already, you can say, group. Let us go to the analysis and let us talk about descriptives. Let us say, now let us say I want to see this analysis descriptive for level of computer proficiency according to my different groups. Take this variable and something is there in the option. Yes, if you want more descriptor, you can check it. Otherwise, press OK. Now see what has happened in our output. We have given the output here, but now it is group wise. First, it is descriptive related to this category. That how many respondents are there under less than 20,000 is the descriptive related to that. Then for second category and then for the third category. So this option is, again, it will be useful or it comes very handy when you have to analyze your data on the basis of different groups here. But don't forget to unsplit the file or take it back to the original form. Then what is the process for that? Again, we have to just reverse the process, split file and analyze all the cases here and press OK. And now my file is in the original mode. Okay, now let me tell you the last tool for inferential statistics that I would like to cover here. This is the correlation analysis. Now, where to apply the correlation analysis? We have to apply the correlation analysis, or we can apply the correlation analysis when our both the variables in our hypothesis are metric. Now, for example, here you can see one variable we have level of computer proficiency, and second variable we have the internet uses. So we measured internet uses on the basis of number of hours, you can say, spent in a day. We measured on that basis. And I want to see, my purpose is here, that is there any correlation between level of computer proficiency and the internet uses. So this, for this purpose, we want to you can say use this option or a test of correlation, and we want to test the hypothesis as well. So my hypothesis here, my null hypothesis would be that there is no relationship or there is no correlation between level of computer proficiency and internet uses, and accordingly you can frame the alternative hypothesis. So how to test it? So just go to analyze, then go to correlate. Under correlate, check on bivariate regression correlation. Click on this one and just let me. So what do we have to do? Let me just convert to the variables. First we have this one, internet uses, and second is the level of computer proficiency. This is what we have to we have to find out the correlation here between these two variables. And by default it is Pearson. Let it be Pearson, and by default it will flag the significant correlation. Whether that correlation is there, whether it is significant or not, that will also be checked for the testing of the hypothesis. So now what have to do? We have to simply click on OK, and you can see results are there. Now, how to study the results here? It will always give you the output in the matrix format, but you can conclude from one, you can say one variable only, on one table only. Now, see here, the Pearson correlation between internet and the level of computer proficiency is 0.391. Although it's not very strong correlation, I will call it as a mild correlation only. But we are interested in whether this correlation is significant correlation or not. So that will be, you can say, explained by this p-value. In this case, our p-value is 0.001. That means it is less than 0.05. And in a way, we will say that yes, there is a correlation between, or you can say significant correlation between internet and the level of computer proficiency there. So this way we can use the correlation. So this was all from my side, that I briefly explained you very basic functions of SPSS, because at this level we can't talk about very high level functions of SPSS. But SPSS is a very exhaustive tool or very comprehensive software that you can use for data analysis purpose. But I think at the graduation level, if you will only simply understand that how to enter the data, how to test the hypothesis, then it will be very useful for you in the classes to come there. So thank you so much from my side. Now it is over to Dr. Hermit.
So let us summarize today's session. So in this session today you learned how to test the hypothesis using various statistical tools with the help of SPSS. So using SPSS, how to apply chi-square test, and then you also understood how to apply the independent t-test and pair t-test, and today also you understood that how to apply the one-way ANOVA using the SPSS software. So I hope you have understood about analyzing the data using the statistical package SPSS. Thank you. So with today's lecture, our course on nursing research and statistics is over. I'm sure now you will be able to apply this knowledge while you will be conducting your own research studies, and this knowledge will be really useful for you because you will be able to conduct the research study and you will be able to analyze the data statistically. Thank you. Have a nice day.